Hi everyone, LazyFire here. Welcome back to the Hate the Player podcast. This should be episode 46, depending on how you count the dead gay armcast. Three Toes, you're here with me once again,
I
despite your
am.
better judgment.
Yeah. Despite not having anything better to do and not really wanting to watch the Pro Bowl.
God, who wants to watch the Pro Bowl? I don't even think. Now, here's the funny thing: the Pro Bowl, as much shit as everyone gives the Pro Bowl for being like basically unfun to watch, it still has more viewers than any NFL or any NBA, MLB, or NHL playoff game per year.
Because it's football. It's still
Yes,
football.
yes,
It's terrible football, but it's still football.
yeah. That's just insane, though. Think about that.
Yeah.
Um, Even though it's a terrible game to watch, it's still like one of the most viewed events every year. So, have you been playing any more Red Dead Redemption? Have you been kind of just cruising?
No, I haven't. I've been playing it, but I have still been watching the Let's Play.
Yeah. Interest died quickly on that.
No, I mean it's more just been a matter of finding the time to actually play.
Yeah.
And like I said, all my save files had been erased, so
Yeah. Yeah.
it's not like I can just hop on and dick around whatever I want now. It's I'm kind of limited.
Yeah. Hey, could be worse. Could always be worse. So
Yeah.
there were actually some topics I wanted to discuss that have kind of come to the forefront in the last few weeks that I've thought were kind of interested. One is the backlash on pre-orders that's been kind of kicked off in the last few months, starting back in November with the release of Assassin's Creed Unity, where people pre-order the game and Ubisoft is telling them, "Hey, pre-order the season pass and all the DLC you'll get," and the game came out and it didn't fucking work, and it took a 6.95 gigabyte patch to get some of the stuff to just function correctly.
Good lord.
Yeah, and it took weeks to get this out, and then it actually broke other stuff and all this other crap. And so you have games like that. You have you been paying attention to what happened with H1Z1?
No, I watched like one episode of a Let's Play of it, and it looked terrible.
Yeah, it's a Sony Online product, and it's just meant to cash in on the zombie survival
Yeah.
craze. It's basically an early access game, which a huge company doing an early access game, even if it's Sony Online, that's weird. Planetside and what was it? The other one they had that was another first-person shooter. Like they have these free-to-play games, but this is a $20 early access game that basically inhabits the same places Rush or DayZ did. Um, Although, or I should say, I don't know why I said Rust, which actually removed the zombies from its game.
Did it really?
Rust removed zombies from the game a while back. Now you just have wildlife and other players to deal with.
Wow.
That I think,
Honestly, I think that would entice me to play more so than fucking zombies. I'm so sick of zombies.
yeah, I think we discussed this. I kid you not, like a year ago,
Yeah.
early on in the podcast life, where we're talking about the zeitgeist of early access zombie games, where like everything's a fucking zombie game anymore.
And here we are again.
And so one of the things Sony Online said was that it's not a pay-to-win game. There are microtransactions within. Well, one of the things you can buy with those microtransactions is an airdrop. And the airdrop has a high percentage chance of having like weapons and shit in it that you would never normally have access to unless you got an airdrop.
Mm,
And it was a little too precise. It just kind of landed where you told it to. What Sony said they wanted it to be was like a server-wide event where everyone would come rush this thing and try to take stuff, which is what actually happens in Rust as well.
right.
And it's the feeling a lot of people got was that Sony basically came out and lied to them about this shit. Um, and so a lot of people have actually gotten Steam to give them refunds on the game because they were not given the bill of sale they were given was false. And that's like a really, really rare reversal. And even
Wow.
Sony
Yeah.
Online has actually come back and apologized and said, "Listen, we're going to change these things. It's not going to be like this in the future. This is why it's early access. Blah blah blah." But if you have an early access game that is actually taking microtransactions, you no longer
Yeah.
have an early access game.
No.
You have a fucking cash system. You're just out there making money. You're never gonna release this game fully. DayZ standalone isn't expected to have a full release until 2016.
Good God.
Or 2016, 2017, something like that. Um, other games. Robot Kai, or whatever the fuck studio it was, that Robert Bowling from Activision founded after he left his job as the social media maven on the Modern Warfare series. That studio went under.
Yikes.
They're trying to find a buyer for their shitty zombie survival game, The Human Element. So that, I think this is kind of the sign that the zombie survival genre is a little bit, it's on its last legs. Rust changing over from being a zombie survival game that was trying to correct DayZ's mistakes, and then becoming kind of a multi-purpose survival game. And then H1Z1 being a fucking mess. I think the last, and DayZ taking so long to get right. I think the last major game that's in that genre that's still set to come out is Dying Light. And so we'll see how that goes. But yeah, this might be the end of the zombie survival genre. But people, getting back to the subject at hand, people were actually really upset that they pre-ordered this game and were told by Sony up to a week earlier that it was not a pay-to-win game with microtransactions that were in it. And so when the airdrops were revealed to be what they were, people obviously freaked out.
I don't want any game with microtransactions.
Yeah, it's, Call of Duty's actually gone that route in the time we've been away from the game, where they you can buy certain things that they're not pay to win, but it's like, I'm going to buy this certain camo, or I'm going to buy this gun skin, or I'm going to have Snoop Dogg do all the announcements for my game. That's, by the way, something you can buy in Ghosts.
Jesus.
So they've increased that in a lot of games now, and I'm surprised that it hasn't been as, prevalent in some of the mainstream releases, games like Call of Duty, games like Halo. But it looks like that's really the route things are going. I mean, we had DLC season passes since 2010, and people have kind of gotten to those and said sometimes it's a benefit, sometimes it's not. Actually, the swing back on that is come down on Evolve, the game from Turtle Rock Studios, who made the Left 4 Dead series, another survival game, another zombie shooter game. But they're making, I don't know if you've seen anything on Evolve, but you have 4 character classes with a bunch of different characters in each class, and you're hunting down this monster that is player controlled. So you have 4 human players fighting against another human player that just happens to be a monster. And they play differently, and you have to work together and communicate, and it's set to be a really, really cool game. I think it's going to be neat.
Yeah, it sounds like a good idea, at least.
Yeah, it sounds like something different, the asymmetric kind of thing, but that's there's an early access or an indie studio game called Depth, where you play as divers, and then there's a shark that is player controlled, I believe.
I absolutely want to play as a shark.
I think Pause and Pause has a bunch of videos of that if you want
really?
to see it.
Yeah, I'll have to go look.
But yeah, there's those things. I haven't seen those videos because every time you watch one of those morons play a multiplayer game, they just have no idea what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, the idea of having these asymmetrical situations is actually kind of neat, and I was looking forward to Evolve pretty heavily. I'm probably not going to buy it until it's a proven entity, because I hate to spend $60 on a game that's multiplayer only and then have no community behind it.
Right.
That's the word.
Titanfall.
Oh. Yeah, a game that was so fucking hyped when it came out. Everyone was like, oh, it's going to change shooters forever and everything. And there's no community behind it 3 months later.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
But they're still running commercials about it.
Are they?
Touting from the cloud side. Oh. They use it as like a Microsoft Cloud commercial. Saying, we use the cloud to build this awesome game, Titanfall, which you've probably never heard about.
Their server structure, Azure, does not actually work all the time. So people are pointing out that in the Halo Master Chief Collection, which uses the same server and structure, at least half the time people are connecting PvP game or P2P games, instead of connecting to dedicated servers, and they're actually getting worse connections on the dedicated server side than they are if they connect to other players specifically in Master Chief Collection.
Yikes.
So, and I think the same thing's happening with the newest Call of Duty game, or it might be just the Call of Duty game instead of Master Chief Collection. But that's another game that we can talk about with people getting angry about pre-orders. People pre-ordered the shit out of Master Chief Collection, and it was a steaming pile of garbage at launch. It didn't work properly. You couldn't get into games. You couldn't play games. Some of the this function and that function weren't there. This map doesn't run correctly, and all this other shit. From what I understand, though, the Master Chief Collection is in a unique situation because 4 different companies worked on the different games in the collection, because 343, the company that does nothing but Halo games, did not have the manpower to work on that and Halo 5 at the same time. So Microsoft just contracted out these different companies to do all these different games, and then mashed it all together, not thinking about what would happen with the code or assets or anything like that.
Yikes.
Yeah. So between Master Chief Collection, Assassin's Creed Unity, Far Cry 4 had some issues too. Evolve having some backlash with the already announced Season Pass DLC, including a Day 1 DLC that you can buy. Stuff lingering from last year with Battlefield 4. There's been a lot of games in the last year. People are calling it the year of the unfinished game, where these games are given deadlines 2 to 3 years in advance, and slipping schedule will hurt shareholders more than releasing the game. So Ubisoft can't have Assassin's Creed go into March. It can't have, Far Cry 4 say, I need another 2 months. It needs to release in November.
Right.
Or October, whenever the fuck they say. Master Chief Collection can't wait for testing. It needs to go out when it was told to go out. So you have all this stuff. It's just insane that they can't just release a game anymore. It has to be, it has to meet the standards. It has to meet the requirements. But they don't care if it works or not when it comes out. They'll just patch it on day 1, or they'll just apologize. But they just want they want the pre-sales.
Right.
It's absolutely insane. Have you been burned by anything like that? I mean, Battlefield 3 or...
No, I mean, I honestly didn't think the bugs in Battlefield 3 were really all that bad. At the time, yeah, they were kind of frustrating, but you might have to refresh my memory. It's been so long since I played that game. I can't really remember what the bad bugs were. I mean, there were some connectivity issues, weren't there, with the server browser?
Yeah. There was stuff like that, and there were things that they took out of the game before release that they said they were going to put in, and they brought it back in later on. Like
what? Like what?
G-porns.
Oh,
was
yeah.
The big one. They couldn't figure out how to make G-porns work correctly or something like that with the servers.
And then when they put them in, it was only client side. Yeah. No one could hear your horn except you.
Yeah.
So, what was the point?
Yeah, but Battlefield 3, I think, wasn't as beset with problems as Battlefield 4 was, which was a fucking unplayable mess for several weeks, and then got slightly better, and then, it's been pretty good for the last few months, but it took almost a year to get there. And, people are pointing to that game and to other titles, as reasons why games released now broken, and these companies don't give a fuck. But
GTA 5 was a little bit like that.
Well, GTA 5, a year and a half after fucking release, still doesn't have online heists.
Yeah.
Which is something they touted before launch.
Right.
When Grand Theft Auto Online launches, you'll be able to do heists with your friends. That was a year and a half ago.
Yep.
But
yeah, that was probably the worst, quote unquote burn I've ever had from a game like that. Granted, I didn't pre-order it or anything like that. I didn't reserve a copy because I knew GameStop was going to have plenty.
And I think that's the other thing is what's the point of a pre-order these days?
Sorry, I
Oh,
had to
okay.
sneeze. Yeah, yeah,
I thought you
we
were
can
like
cut that.
forming this really deep fucking
No,
answer to
I
this
mean,
question.
no, you're absolutely right. Unless there's actually something decent that they give you for pre-ordering.
Yeah.
Um, but again, like the, I can't think of anything I'm trying to remember any pre-orders I've actually ever done. I honestly can't think of any pre-orders I've ever bought into.
Yeah.
Um, I can't really think of anything that they would give me to make me want to pre-order it. Um, the best the best thing I've ever gotten from a game from a promotional standpoint, but it wasn't pre-order, was the what was it, the Six Wolf Moon
Oh.
uh, tag
Yeah.
from the Dr Pepper promo code in Battlefield 3,
Yeah, that was a pretty good one. Uh,
or Three Wolf Moon, or how many
yeah,
wolves were on that
yeah. I
damn
think it
thing.
was a six wolf one. I don't know
Yeah,
why I think it was that, but yeah. But the point remains like pre-ordering a game in this day and age, unless you're trying to buy a physical copy of a Call of Duty game, which by the way you don't even need to pre-order anymore because they just print like 6 billion discs, assuming
right.
everyone in the world's gonna want one. I mean, they cost what 36 cents to press a fucking disc these days.
Yeah,
Um, People are just they're gonna buy the game, they're gonna go home, they're not gonna have to pre-order anymore because there's not the scarcity problem there was when you had fucking carts and CDs were pretty rare at the time, or there were only a few game stores that were game specific that only had a few copies. Like these days, you can just go fucking to the 7-Eleven and get a game. It doesn't matter. So pre-ordering is just kind of stupid.
yeah. It's they're trying to get their nut before it's even launched.
Yeah. And I think that's a lot of what people have been saying is that at this point you hype pre-orders because that way you can basically just make your money without having to do any work for it. Like
Right.
you can it looks really good when you announce, "Hey everyone, the new Assassin's Creed's coming out next year." You can pre-order it now and get 3 free swords and a character skin. Like those things cost nothing for them to produce. They're probably just discarded content from the rest of the game. Uh, and then hey, here's Ubisoft. They had $6 billion in sales this month. I don't know why 6 billion is my go-to number this year, but they had most of it was on Assassin's Creed pre-orders, and then next quarter they're going to have the game launch, and they're going to get their money there, and then they're going to get their money with the DLC in the next quarter. It's the game's life cycle is now it starts a year before release and it ends 16 months after release when the last DLC comes out. It's
Yeah.
and by the time the next game is announced and whatever, they've made their money on the game. They don't care if it's not functioning correctly. Uh, but how much damage can your franchise name take from these uh, bad experiences people had at the start before people stop buying? It's $60. It's not the cheapest thing in the world. I went to that wine fest thing I go to every year with my wife, and we paid $90 per ticket. Not gonna lie about that. $90 per ticket.
Wow.
There were a quarter of the vendors there usually are. This is the first year it's been $90. It was $80 last year. $90 this year. There were a quarter of the normal wine vendors, and then the majority of like a huge section of the thing wasn't even wine. It was straight up like jewelry and fucking lamps made out of liquor bottles. And it was the first time in 3 months I felt the need to post to Facebook about to anything at all because I barely ever use Facebook as it stands because I'm old. But I'm not old enough to be on it constantly misspelling shit and talking about grandkids, but I'm old enough not to really give a fuck about Facebook anymore. And I actually got on there and like went to the Sun Wine Fest fucking homepage and was just like, "You guys fucked up. Here's how you fucked up. Here's how you unfuck yourselves. Because
Right.
I'm not gonna spend $180 so my wife and I can go and get harangued by jewelry sellers and olive oil guys for fucking 2 hours, and then decide to leave early because there's nothing for us to do. Like, fuck you.
Yeah.
But it's got to be the same way with video games. You got to look at a game and say, like, listen, last year's was fucking horrid. It took a year and a half for it to get set up right. Why am I going to come back and buy this game again at launch? Pre-order this game for nothing. With correct me if I'm wrong, but with Battlefield 3, if you pre-ordered it, did you get the Back to Karkin DLC for free?
Yeah.
Okay, see,
But I think it was also
it
like
also
because
it's
I'm
also
trying.
something.
Because maybe I did pre-order it for 360 in order to get that. Yeah, I completely forgot about that. But I want to say that pretty much anyone who bought a copy day one got a quote pre-order copy,
Yeah,
even if you didn't pre-order, and you automatically got that DLC anyway. And there were even like people kind of somewhat bitching and moaning about that. Well, like, I actually pre-ordered it. Why does this guy get it too? Like he just bought it on day one.
yeah. And I think if you want my honest opinion on this, I think that's how you justify a pre-order is to give somebody something of actual fucking value that other people are going to end up paying for. Because that was part of the premium package. Was
Right.
you got Karkin and you got all the other DLCs that came after that. And the Battlefield DLCs are, by the way, not that bad. In terms of Battlefield 4 stuff, they give you 4 maps, they give you at least a couple guns, they give you a couple gadgets. Like, there's some stuff in there, there's some content in those DLCs. But I think a lot of people look at a lot of the DLC that comes out after a game's release, especially for multiplayer games, and it's just like, here's 3 maps, fucking go nuts, it's $15, pay me $5 per map. And, where's your value on that? Like,
Right.
and there's no, and I think Dice and Battlefield do it right when they tell you, here's 4 maps, you get it just for pre-ordering. Give people a reason to pre-order this shit instead of just saying pre-order our games. Because on Steam, fucking pre-ordering on Steam, here's what you get if you pre-order on a Steam game. This is a lot of people pointing this out with Grand Theft Auto 4. You can preload. That is your benefit. So if you absolutely, positively fucking need to play Grand Theft Auto 5 at 12 o'clock the day it's released, you
Right.
can do that with Steam by just, pre-ordering and downloading beforehand.
But of course, there are people like that. There are people
I
where
mean,
that's actually a worthwhile incentive for them.
yeah, but those people are the same people who are going to beat the game in 16 hours and then complain that there's nothing for them to do in it.
Right.
Like these are the guys who are just they're completionists. They're just going to finish it and just be like, "Oh, it wasn't that good," instead of actually playing the game.
Right.
But besides the companies that are just trying to like scramble to fix their broken ass games, Ubisoft has actually been really bad about this for a long time. Between that and Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed, Watch Dogs, Far Cry 4, like most of their games in the last years were just like completely broken at launch. Um, one studio I have to give credit to because I'm playing the game they released is Machine Games. They released Wolfenstein: The New Order, which is like maybe the one major release of the year that wasn't fucking absolutely broken at launch, didn't require a
Right.
huge ass day one patch. You just started that thing and you knew you were going to play it and it was going to work well. So good on them. Like that's pretty impressive for a company's first outing when you have Bethesda leaning over your shoulder telling you got to release this shit. So, yay. Some companies care. Actually, in that same vein, Battlefield Hardline, that game was supposed to release in November. It's now releasing in March.
Oh yeah, we talked about that briefly last
Yeah,
time.
yeah. I mean, and then the Division, another Ubisoft title, actually. It was supposed to. Ubisoft had said it was going to release in November of this last year of 2014, and Massive Games, the guys who are making it, basically said there was no way that was fucking going to happen, and said that they didn't want to do a Battlefield 4. and pushed Ubisoft to let them release later so they'd have a more solid title. But I'm going to keep saying Ubisoft does not give a fuck about people playing their games because Ghost Recon Future Soldier, when that released for the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, it was near unplayable online, and that game has a huge online component that's actually really, really fun, but it killed its own community almost immediately because it was unplayable bullshit, laggy as hell, all this other stuff. And they fixed it eventually. It became a really good, solid shooter. Like, I would play that over Battlefield 3 most days if I was given the option. But the PC version of the same game was broken for almost a year. Like, could not load textures. Broken. And it released 2 months after the console version. So they had 2 extra months to work on it and did nothing. Or made it worse.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
see, I'm kind of wondering what... Because, I mean, granted, it's probably going to be... God, how many years are in between Grand Theft Auto releases?
like 5.
Yeah. Like, people are still going to bring that up, like, with the online heists.
Oh, yeah.
When the next one comes out. Like, I'm wondering how hard... Well, you got to think, like, 5 years' time, like, of course, that game's going to be hyped all to hell again, and it's probably not going to hurt it at all, but people should definitely bring it up.
Yeah, and I think it's something that I think everyone needs to start bringing up. Like I said, there's this basically campaign now to go out there and say, listen, your games are broken at launch. We're not going to pre-order because we want to know what the quality is before we buy something. And I think that's, you test drive a car. There's no demos anymore. All that shit. Like, how are we going to know?
Well, the thing is, you got to remember, like, your average, 12 to 16-year-old's not going to care. Yeah. Like, they see, ooh, shiny new game. Like, I have to pre-order it. Mm-hmm. I must be the first kid on my block to get, this awesome new game. So they're not going to lose out on pre-orders from that crowd at all. So I really don't know how much they're going to feel the effects of fewer pre-orders from, gamers our age or a little younger, like in their 20s, who are kind of fed up with the pre-order bullshit.
Yeah, every year, there's no chance that you're going to tell the average 13-year-old's parents to not pre-order Call of Duty for him.
Right.
And I know Call of Duty is like the default go-to. That's the weird thing. By the way, I wanted to mention this. It's so fucking weird to me that everyone says, oh, they're trying to make it like Call of Duty at this point when Call of Duty has been going through a massive identity crisis for the last 2 years. Like, it doesn't know what kind of game it wants to be anymore, and that's kind of hilarious to me. Like, they've changed so many of their systems, how so many things work, the updates and settings and functionality of so much stuff, that people still say, oh, Battlefield's trying to be like Call of Duty. And it's like, well, fucking no, it isn't, because it doesn't. Call of Duty is so... You're thinking of Call of Duty 6 years ago, man. Call of Duty today is different.
Right.
But, kids still buy Call of Duty like crazy. You're not gonna convince the average person with an Xbox One that pre-ordering the Master Chief Collection is a bad idea, even if you came back with a source code and showed them, like, this is what it's going to play like for the first 3 months, man. Don't buy it. It's going to be trash. They're still going to pre-order it.
Yeah.
What else are they going to play?
Yeah.
These new consoles, they're so starved for games, they could shovel absolute shit down someone's throat and they'd still buy it. They have to. There's nothing else to play. There needs to be more games coming out, and new games and interesting games. And right now, companies are still in a very last-gen mindset, and they're still trying to just shovel shit out on the same schedule.
Yeah.
I'm going on a weird fucking rant here. Doesn't matter to me. I haven't pre-ordered a fucking game in forever. Actually, no. Take that back. Shadows of Mordor. I pre-ordered that the day before it released.
I think maybe that's what I did with Battlefield 3.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't so much that I was like, oh my god, I have to get this game, I must pre-order. It's like, no, I'm going to wait till the last possible minute to where I can still benefit from the perks of the pre-order.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, you can just fucking go ahead. Let's just pre-order the day before it releases, a week before it releases. You don't get any extra benefits from pre-ordering 6 months in advance. Like, what do you get? I mean, nothing.
Yeah.
The only thing, and this is the weirdest thing, the only way a pre-order works is if you have an actual delivery date on the product. If you pre-order something and people who pre-order Duke Nukem Forever, right? They were told this is when the game's going to release. It's going to release on this kind of hardware, and then the game got shifted back, and then shifted back, and then 10 years later it fucking released. Like, what why would you pre-order that any game ever after stuff like that happens? Because it's very clear that the games are just not going to release when you think they will.
Right.
But, so that's my rant for tonight. You have anything? Do you have anything you would like to add to this?
Well said. I honestly had no, just because I'm so disconnected from the gaming community as a whole. Like I had no idea that there was a sudden backlash against pre-orders.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah, it's been an interesting couple of weeks. The Evolve stuff with them saying they're going to release Day One DLC, and the Grand Theft Auto 5 stuff where it's like, hey, a lot of the Grand Theft Auto 5 outrage was because people were like hyped to get this game tomorrow or Tuesday from when we're recording this. And because we probably won't see it for another week, but I'm going to be snowed in for at least a day this week because it looks like a historic size nor'easter or a snow or blizzicane or whatever the fuck they're calling it is. Blizzgate, I think, is what it's going to be called.
Oh,
it's going to be a scandal. Fucking people and their naming systems. I have a huge ass snowstorm coming, and it's supposed to hit Monday night into Tuesday. So, where I worked the last time they shut down was the blizzard of '78, which in New England is kind of legendary, and people still talk about it. And this is supposed to be about the size of the blizzard of '78 over the course of about a day and a half. So I'm very interested in seeing what happens in that 36-hour period and if they shut down my operations. But, yeah, I might have a day where I'm sitting at home and we'll edit this, which would be the day that Grand Theft Auto 5 was supposed to release. But they moved it back into March, unexpectedly. At the same time they said you can pre-order this game. So people are upset, and they're like, hey, why would we pre-order your game? You keep moving the date around, and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
So people have kind of been upset about that, and they're, taking it to Steam about it. And Steam actually did something interesting. You can now filter out early access and pre-order offers in Steam, so they won't show.
Huh.
So, because they're... I don't know if you ever heard of... Oops, sorry, I kicked my dog. Have you ever heard of Nerd Cubed?
No.
He is a YouTube personality. He had a Steam Curator page, which is, by the way, a thing you can now do on Steam, where you can basically say, I like these games, you guys should buy these games, here are my reviews of them. And he had, I think, the 4th most popular Steam Curator page, and he took it down, and he explained that he's tired of Steam basically being a place where you get early access games now. And so he's going to start his own online store, which is exactly, because you go from unemployed to YouTube commentator to store, Gabe Newell, just, as fast as you feel like it. I curated a Steam page. I have a pretty good idea how to set up an online store, let me tell you. But, I agree in some respects with what he's saying. Steam has... in the last year, it's just like, this is where you get all these pre-release games now, and where you find out about early access and Steam Greenlight. Now, I've bought a couple of those games. I can't say that I'm actually upset that I bought Rogue Legacy. It's a pretty fucking great game, but I bought it when it was early access. And, there's a few other games that are just like that. It's just, hey, here are some really neat games that are early access because the developers need money. Similar to it's basically like Kickstarter, but you actually have some code.
Right.
I mean, we played that Unturned game. I bought Nuclear Throne. I mean, there's some pretty good options out there.
Which, by the way, I completely forgot about Unturned until like a few days ago. Something made me. It must have been when I saw that footage of H1Z1, and I was like, "Wow, a game made by a high schooler runs so much better than this piece of shit I'm watching right now." I need to go look back into Unturned, like see what's happened with it.
I think it got fucking weird.
Really?
I'm not sure, but I looked at the last patch notes of that thing, and it was like, hey y'all, I made 3 new maps and they're all huge and there's an Arctic tundra map and blah blah blah. Like it's apparently a much bigger game all of a sudden.
Huh.
So, but I mean, hey, he had Christmas break to work on it, so
I mean, once midterms were out of the way,
yeah,
he could really devote his time to his game.
Kevin, hey, come out. We're gonna go out to the skating rink. No, I gotta work on my game, eh?
Can't, guys. I gotta work on my video game. Pardon. I'll be out eventually.
Yeah, right. It's fucking. He'll never be part of the Mighty Ducks with that attitude. Oh my god. Yeah, Unturned. I'm really hoping that kid's art project gets off the ground as well. How many people, and I know we make fun of them, but like how many people can say I am the person who made a video game that was on Steam and was free and people actually enjoyed it?
Yeah.
By 17 or 18. Yeah. It's like I'm going to college. Gonna go to college in Ontario.
He's gonna go to the ECPI School of Video Game Design. He's already got his master's thesis complete with that game.
Hey guys, you have to tighten up the graphics in level 12.
Yeah, let's tighten up the graphics. Jesus Christ.
Why'd I work at a Quebecois school of the game design? I don't understand.
Pardon, hey, we gotta tighten up the graphics.
They're not gonna like it if you release it with graphics like that, eh? Yeah. Make it more realistic and add boobs. That just seems to be how everything works these days. So yeah, I wanted to get that out there because we kind of been talking about things that were on the periphery of all this, but we hadn't really gone into it until now. So figured it'd be nice to kind of discuss something that's been kicking up around the video game community. Kicking around the video game community, and I swear this is the last thing I want to talk about. PC Master Race. I don't know if you know what that is.
I mean, yeah, I've heard that phrase for like several years.
It was something that started in the Zero Punctuation reviews, where Yahtzee, the guy who does those, was being sarcastic and said, dirty console peasants in the PC Master Race.
See, I thought it always just started on the SA forums. That's where I first heard it.
Well, it's a huge thing on Reddit. It's one of their top subreddits and everything. And it started out as a satire page, where it's like, look at all this cool stuff I have. I'm a member of the PC Master Race. Ha ha
right.
ha. And it quickly became, fuck anyone who ever owned a console. You're dirty. You don't belong in video gaming. You're a terrible person. You probably should have cancer, AIDS. That whole thing. Also, they're racist as shit.
Really?
And sexist as fuck. Because
well, yeah, it's Reddit.
Intel announced that they were going to... I posted this somewhere in games. The last episode that I just put up today, I used a screenshot from the subforum when Intel announced that they were partnering with Feminist Frequency, which is the feminist blog that supports the tropes versus women in video games web series, and of course employs a moron who thought that he was the guy that said the Wolfenstein difficulty menus were like so sexist that he could write a thesis about them. That moron is actually a co-writer on the women versus tropes in video games, and he's a moron, like straight up. I don't care what his opinions of feminism are or anything like that. That's just being stupid, or at least being hungry for attention. But Intel announced that in an effort to bring more diversity to their workforce, which is always a good thing, I think we've all understood that one,
Oh yeah.
that they are going to be partnering with a lot of different groups, including the feminist frequency. And that alone freaked people out on the PC Master Race subreddit. And there was this whole thing about how affirmative action was terrible and was like the reason why companies were doing so horribly, but companies have never been doing better. Stock prices never been higher. Blah blah blah. Productivity's never been higher. So maybe affirmative action is actually the best thing in the world. Who knows? But like also how feminist women shouldn't get any special consideration for jobs, and how like companies should, white men can't get jobs anymore because companies, this whole thing, like very just like Strom Thurmond is haunting my computer kind of moments where it's like, how'd this all get on my Reddit account? I don't understand. It's like those kind of things. But like that's what that subreddit is. It's like very much on the cusp of being racist half the time. And they got really upset when PC Gamer said maybe you guys shouldn't use the term PC Master Race because it makes you sound like Nazis.
Yeah.
And so they, of course, started a campaign against PC Gamer magazine.
Jesus.
Because you can't speak ill of the Master Race. They didn't see any of the irony in any of the
Wow.
like proto-censorship shit they're going for. And it was just amazing to watch. It's like, hey, you guys said something bad about the Master Race, and like you show up in an alley with like beer bottles and chains, and like
we should put you in a re-education camp.
Yeah, you guys don't understand anything. We're gonna go have a campaign, march in the streets about how PC Master Race is the best.
Maybe we'll break a whole bunch of windows in the process.
It's like, I'm gonna make a bunch of brown shirts that talk about how great the PC Master Race is. Like, what the fuck? There's just like no irony. There's no. It always goes to the fucking maximum. It has to go from 0 to 1,000,000 with these assholes, and I don't understand. You can't just have a page that's like, hey guys, here's some really cool PC things. It'd be nice. It'd be really cool if me and other people who play games on PC primarily now, and like are there to be like, hey, you should, build a PC. Here's some stuff you can do. Here's some games to look into. Not a bad idea. But these assholes have to take it like a step further at all times. And it has to be like, no, anyone with a console should get the fuck out of here. Like, they had people in the mod team go in and say that you guys are not allowed to praise Nintendo here. Like, and like made it a bannable offense to say anything nice about Nintendo because
Jesus.
they're a console maker. So yeah, like that's what PC Master Race is, and it annoys the living fuck out of me because I get lumped in with these assholes because I play games on a PC. Like, what the fuck? By the way, PC is, of course, the only place to play video games these days. I don't know. Let me explain to you how good Steam and Green Man Gaming is.
I mean, now it's like, I agree with you, but not for the reasons that people traditionally throw out. Like, it used to be, and I mean, I've said this before, like, I pretty much started on PC games when I became, like, a non-child gamer. Like, in high school and college, like, yeah, I played on nothing but PC. Granted, I had a PlayStation, but I really like playing games on the computer better. But it used to be the whole argument was, oh, you play on PC because graphics are better, because, you have more power with the processors, blah, 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 blah. Now, at least with the last year or two, I'd want to play on PC because that's the only place decent games are coming out.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I think,
nothing good is being developed solely for the consoles. And even then, it used to be, you had the console port of the PC game, and that still occurs, but all the good game development's on the PC side now.
Yeah, and I don't want to, like, once again, I'm trying to come off as a moderating influence. No, I'm not, but whatever. There are going to be interesting games that you're not going to get anywhere else but on the console. You're not going to see an Uncharted game on the PC. You're not going to see, probably not going to see, a Halo game on the PC for quite a while, though
Which is funny
Microsoft.
since it started on PC.
Yeah, well, it started being
Well,
developed
Mac.
for the Mac. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, funny thing, Microsoft announced this week that with Windows 10 there was going to be an option to stream from your Xbox One to your PC, so you could play games on a PC. But here's the fun part: you have to use a controller.
Of
And
course, because Microsoft still holds that keyboard and mouse is unfair advantage.
yeah, actually, they said that with using this whole thing where you're streaming from your like Xbox One games over to your PC through Windows 10, which, by the way, Windows 10 will be a free upgrade for anyone who owns Windows 7 or Windows 8.1. Um, so right there, pretty good. For the first year, you can get the upgrade for free. Um, and it looks like DirectX 12 is going to be exclusive to Windows 10, so that'll be good. Or yeah, DirectX 12. So it'll be pretty interesting to see how that works. But you have to use the controller, and like there's some details that have to be hashed out. But there is going to be cross-platform play for Fable Legends.
Oh boy.
So people using a PC can play against people using Xbox through Xbox One. Of course, the last game to try to do this was Shadowrun, which was a first-person shooter where basically anyone and everyone playing on the PC versus the people on the Xbox 360 were just like that much better because mouse and keyboard.
Right.
And so people like playing on the 360 had auto aim, but they were getting fucking destroyed. And so I think that's why that experiment kind of stopped. It's like, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Maybe we shouldn't allow this because we're probably going to get people really angry about this shit. But, that's, yeah, excuse me. That's sort of the way it's going to have to fold out because mouse and keyboard is that much more accurate than someone using the thumbstick. No matter what, like even if you hold it in that retarded ass fucking claw configuration, have you ever seen that where you pinch it between your thumb and forefinger? Like fucking idiot. Whoever came up with that probably needs to go to a re-education camp.
I know. English language enthusiast fisticuffs always use the claw, like way back in the day.
Oh my god. That's just so fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
I actually like the idea of the Zim, the XIM.
Yeah.
Where you could basically, you have a little thing that hooks into your Xbox that spoofs the controller and allows you to use it like a fucking keyboard or a mouse and keyboard kind of setup.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's great. Good on that company for fucking finding a way to do that shit and just annoy the fuck out of people from then on.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I don't have much else. Are you righteously angry over anything in particular?
No, not really.
I kind of dominated this thing.
Yeah.
Everyone, you know that everyone's here to hear me talk and think about what I want to
Oh
hear.
yeah.
I'm an LP superstar. Like, wait, I loved actually. I'm just gonna mention this. I loved. You have to absolutely love the fact that if you have the right game in the LP subforum, you can do fucking anything you want and get views. Like Wolfenstein, I'm averaging 1,000 views on videos after 2 weeks. That is the most views I had on the first episode that you were on of Battlefield 4 when I did that LP.
Wow.
The last episode of Medal of Honor currently has 200 views. So, but Wolfenstein, it's like 20 some odd hundred views on the first episode.
Yeah.
That's just the first part of the first episode. So, like, pick the right game, you can go places. Like,
road to YouTube superstardom.
Yeah, right. That's it. Now I have sway. I can go into whatever thread I want and something awful and just tell people off. And like, who the fuck do you think you are? And I will just give
check
them
my views, bruh.
Check my views to my latest episodes. Please ignore all the podcasts in between that have like 80, 70 views.
Oh wow, we've gotten up to 80 views.
I think people were very confused and like, what the fuck is this shit?
Oh, they just clicked on it and immediately clicked off.
Like, oh, what's this G-Funk track? And they stayed on long enough to listen to that. To, it's like, Lazy Fire is going to spit hot fire at us. This is going to happen now. Let's see. The episode where I had the picture of you firing a shotgun in the air over the bowling alley. That's no.
Wait, what?
No, when you were talking about guns and working in a bowling alley in the same episode while we were talking to CQC, I went and found a picture of Homer firing a gun into the air in front of a bowling alley. And I said, "This is you," in the description.
That's not far off.
70 view. It has 70 views and 1 thumb down.
Who's the asshole who downloaded that video?
Some guy.
Probably.
Still fucking stalking me a year and a half later. Fucking that guy, man. He got banned, and I was like...
If we get a thumbs down on this video, we definitely know who it is.
Yeah, well, he'll probably register like 8 accounts with thumbs down, and then come back to something awful and post passive-aggressively about me in GBS again. That was actually really funny. I don't care if he hears this or not, but that was the funniest goddamn thing, was when he went from being kind of okay with me to, like, suddenly, everyone fucking hates you, no one wanted to play with you ever, you were the least fun person, you always rage quit, and then, like, you could go and look at his post history, because I'm like, what is his problem with me? Like, where did this start? And then I saw that, like, his last 6 posts before that were passive-aggressively, like, yeah, how about this one guy who just, like, spends hundreds of hours editing videos together of him playing video games and talking over them?
Oh, you mean half of YouTube?
Yeah, half of YouTube, me, all of those. Like, of course, he had about 3 times the hours I did in Battlefield 3, so I feel like I kind of won out because I was playing other games than Battlefield 3 24/7. But,
I bet he still plays Battlefield 3.
No, he got an Xbox One. The people post about it in the console thread. He got an Xbox One and plays Battlefield 4 with the guys, the Xbox One guys.
Oh, okay.
So good for him. Like, I don't know why I went off on that weird tangent about him. I only thought about it because I think Nick posted about it the other day in the thread, and I was like, hey, some guy's still alive. Neat. He got banned a while ago because
that guy is still a thing.
He is a person who exists. Good for him. His continued existence in 2015 brings a smile to my heart, knowing he is out there right now getting fucking furious. Like,
in a helicopter.
Yeah. Oh man, that'd be funny as hell. Yeah, must be very angry about Little Birds and Battlefield 4. But yeah, the Wolfenstein videos are going well. Like I was telling you before I started, I actually started uploading the last 2 episodes.
Right.
So by the time people hear this, one of those 2 should be out, I would think. So it'll be good times. That's nearly over, and I'm kind of, like I was saying before, I was kind of looking forward to that because I really need to get started on the Wyatt playthrough, and I almost started it. This is how good Wolfenstein is. After I beat the game, I almost started it. Like right after the credits were over, I was debating, like, I'm going to start the Wyatt playthrough now, I think. And then I turned the game off and I was like, I'm going to take a break from this game. And like now I'm in this weird mood where I don't want to play video games at all. Like, I'll sit in front of my computer, look at my Steam list, like, what do I want to play? Or do I want to play Battlefield? No, not really. And like just watch montage parodies on YouTube for 6 hours, and it's good times. But,
there you go.
Yeah. So, Three Toast, thank you for being on the episode.
Anytime.
What's your Super Bowl prediction?
Oof. I really kind of hate Bill Belichick, so I'm going to have to go Seahawks.
How many points?
Ooh. 17. I'm going to go high.
Go high? I'm going to say Patriots by 3.
Really?
Yeah, my office is very much in the pocket of the Patriots. I think Belichick's probably bribing some of them at this point to talk the Patriots up. But like, I don't know. I think this is like the Patriots never win Super Bowls by large margins, and this is their chance to win by the smallest margin ever. So.
Well, I mean, yeah, they could easily win by 3 with a long field goal if he overinflates the ball.
No, he underinflates. Don't you
I know.
remember?
Now
That's
he
the
can. They're going to be looking for that. They're not going to be
yeah.
looking for overinflated balls.
He took it from one game budget and put it into the other one.
Exactly.
They're getting back to that. They're now saying that there may be as few as one deflated ball that was under by 2 psi. So it might have just been a ball got hit too hard or something stupid. Who knows?
They had. I saw something where Bill Nye was kind of saying that's retarded. It's not going to lose 2 psi from impact. Like you would literally have to deflate it.
There are also people like everyone who's reviewed Bill Nye's thing has said that he's wrong.
Yeah, Bill Nye's never wrong.
I'm pretty sure he is sometimes. But let's end it there before we get into the various diplomas and certifications of famous science guy Bill Nye. So 3 toes. Any other last words?
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide indeed.